What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Pulse and the host of HBCU Pulse Radio, in the building for another special edition of the show on today. Well, listen, it's the springtime. NFL draft is coming up. So you already know what we're doing for the second year in a row. We're having HBCU stars that are looking to live their dream of playing on Sundays. We'll have a couple of these interviews coming up, but I have an HBCU national champion, Jackson State alumnus in the building, defensive back in the building, Robert McDaniel, future NFL defensive back, might be Air Reed, okay, might be the real Revis. All right, we got to see what's going on. Well, I'm super excited. Robert McDaniel in the building. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. What about yourself?
Man, I'm good. I'm excited to talk to you, man, because listen, I cover HBCU sports, cover it for Clutch Points, and we do HBCU Pulse Radio where we're talking about sports and all these different things, and we were keeping our eye out on Jackson State. So I'm super excited to talk about you and just go down this journey of this championship season that y'all had. You won the Celebration Bowl over South Carolina State in December. But first, we have to start with the beginning of your college journey, which is interesting to me because you are a Jackson State HBCU national champion, but you started at Alcorn. So let's talk about that Alcorn experience. So tell us what inspired you to attend Alcorn first, and how was that experience?
Well, actually, it was a crazy story. I started my career off at Jackson State my freshman year before transferring to Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, to help further develop my skills and understanding of the game. Then from there, I had the opportunity to play at Alcorn State coming out of JUCO, where I continued to grow and showcase my abilities. And then ultimately, I finished back at Jackson State, where I was able to maximize my potential and versatility, capping off my senior year with one of my best seasons, and off a SWAC champion, HBCU national champion.
Amazing. So Alcorn State, we know Alcorn and Jackson State are rivals. Now, from what I understand, from what I heard, Alcorn and Jackson State, that's a rivalry. But I heard Jackson State and Southern, the real rivalry. Am I right or wrong about that? I heard that's the real Jackson State Southern is the real rivalry.
Yeah, it's kind of they both have I would say rivals, but in state is most definitely Jackson State and Alcorn. It's either you Alcorn or you Jackson State. Ain't no in between. And then when it comes to the other SWAC school, it's most definitely Jackson State. That's honor.
So within the story, you said you went from Jackson State your freshman year to community college, then to Alcorn, then back to Jackson State. So what was it like on both sides? Like, tell us about the Jackson State side first, then let's talk about the Alcorn side. Like, what was different about it, the experiences?
I would most difficult I have to say just the atmosphere in general. Like, nothing beats playing at the vet. I can most definitely say that. Nothing beats playing in front of nothing beats just playing in front of all the fans and the people that came out to show love in the city. And then at Alcorn, it was most definitely, I would say, more family-wise, because there's nothing much, at Alcorn. So that's everybody. That's all we got. But when they come to the games on Spink Stadium, and most definitely, you're about to end for a tough one, because it's definitely it's hard to win there at that stadium. But we was able to pull it off this season.
Man, listen, it sounds like you speaking to me because I went to Fort Valley. There's not much. Okay, I went to Fort Valley. So, like, all we got is what, a McDonald's, a KFC. Like, we only got a Zaxby's, we don't got a Walmart. So trust me, I understand when you say there ain't nothing around, but that's still my school. I love my school. So trust me, I totally understand. So let me ask you this. So Jackson State Community College, then you went to Alcorn, then back at Jackson State. So what was it like adjusting to that environment? That's a lot of change within your college career. So what was it like adjusting to that environment and also your teammates?
Honestly, it was just mostly a learning experience through it all. Coming from being in different situations, different environments, I was able, just being me, I'm just able to, continue to learn, continue to adapt, and also making those connections that I was making. I always have teammates that I remember during my journey, and that's why I, kind of just, a little bit try to take apart from this. I enjoyed the process. I just enjoyed the journey in general, being able to learn, being able to continue to grow, and also, showcase and develop my game as well while doing so.
I love it. So let's even start from the beginning before we get to the championship season, because like I said, you started at Jackson State, then community college, then you went to Alcorn, then back at Jackson State. Yes, so that is an HBCU experience if I've ever heard one. So what made you want to go to an HBCU?
I honestly just had dreams of playing playing Power 5 ball, especially coming from competition. I never shy away from competition. I showed that I could be one of the dominant players, even coming out of high school. That's just, it never played out that way. And then coming out of high school, I only had two offers, that being Jackson State and a D2 out of Arkansas. Coming from a hometown kid growing up in Jackson, Mississippi, I just went with, hey, I got to go with the home team.
I love that. I love that. So let's transition now into 2024, because this is what the folks are here for. They here to talk about 2024 season, the dominance, the championship, making it happen. So you all had an amazing season, dominated the SWAC, won the SWAC championship, win that Celebration Bowl over a really good South Carolina State team. So what do you believe as a defensive player? My favorite side of the ball is defense.
Oh, yeah.
So as a defensive player, what do you believe was the driving force behind you all winning the HBCU National Championship?
The driving force of us was just dominating, especially coming from my position coach and also defensive coordinator Terenzo Quinn. He instilled during the whole year is our complete mindset was just, we got to dominate our opponent. We got to stop the run. We got to stop the pass. We can't give up nothing easy. And anything they do try to get, they got to definitely earn. And, just being able to look back on this past season, our defense was not only the top defense in the conference, but also in FCS. So that just goes to testament of our work ethic and the things that we put in place to being able to showcase what we could do, even at that biggest point of the year on the biggest stage in the Falcon Stadium. You can't ask for nothing more.
Yeah, man. Listen, Mercedes-Benz. I was just sitting there in December, a few days after the Celebration Bowl. One thing I can say, that food is good and it's cheap. So listen, I love Mercedes-Benz, especially me being from Georgia. I love Mercedes-Benz. So shout out to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But if you're just joining us, we're talking to Robert McDaniel, Jackson State defensive back, HBCU national champion, and future NFL star. We're going to go on and speak it into existence. So let's look at your stats. 55 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions during the 2024 season. You were making it happen. You weren't just playing on defense. You were one of the guys. You were making it happen. So what areas of your game do you think you improved on the most in your Jackson State experience, from your freshman year to even like this championship journey you were on?
I almost never say, even just honestly, not even the ball. I'm just honestly a ball player. I see ball, I go get ball. But one of the things that definitely improved is I most definitely have to say my tackling ability and my blitzing ability. Being able to, rack up 55 tackles and having 4.5 sacks. You don't get that coming, especially from a DB position. You're not rallying up those type of stats. So being able to, showcase that I can, I can be better in different aspects of my game. That helped me continue to showcase my versatility as a defensive back.
So let's talk about what was, maybe in my opinion, the game of the year in the SWAC that I knew, and we all knew. My co-host Ariel and I talked about it. The game that was going to determine who won the SWAC championship. And shout out to Alabama State. They did their thing. But we knew it was going to be FAMU and Jackson State. FAMU, Jackson State, y'all were out of the Orange Blossom Classic. Alabama State, North Carolina Central were in it to start the year. So we're like, there's no excuses. There's no, we weren't ready. We got injured in week 0. There was none of that on either side. Now it is middle of the season. Everybody is in game shape. We know what's going on. We know the plays. We ready. And it's on ESPNU. We watched it. We making it happen. And y'all pulled off what was essentially a miraculous comeback. It wasn't too big of a deficit, but you all came back and won that game. So you got to give us the inside look on that FAMU Jackson State game. Like, talk to us about it.
Honestly, really just going into that week after the previous game had ended the week before, we was even coming in on that Sunday. Coach was like, "Hey, he even told us this determines who wins SWAC right here." And look, there wasn't no exaggeration. Like, that determines who go to the SWAC championship and who's going to be potentially going into the Celebration Bowl. So going into that week, our coaches, they were on us heavy when it came to meetings, practice, film study. Like, there was no the environment was there. If you wasn't with that mindset going into that week, you was not prepared for that game. And then just getting ready to go into that week, leading up to those hours, everybody's locked in. There's no smiles going around. We're just completely focused, dialed in, ready for game day. And then when the game eventually came, it was nothing but, it was just time to talk now. Ain't no time for it was just all about action. No, ain't no time for talking now. So just going into that game, we were just Started off kind of slow, gave up a few little plays, but after that, after we was dialed in, momentum was there, plays kept happening. We was able to just continue to dominate, continue to show, yeah, we belong here. We're gonna come out with the win. And lo and behold, play after play, and when the clock hit zeros, hey, we was the reigning champions after that game.
Yeah, and here's something I always think about when it comes to sports, because for me, I didn't play sports at the level you played at. I played a little, fifth grade, I played basketball.
Right.
I'm a basketball guy. I like football too. I'm a basketball guy. But one thing we often talk about is there's, the on-field play, but there's also for sports fans and media members, the narratives. Like the narratives like who's the GOAT, who's the best running back, who's the best defensive back, because that's how we process the game. And one of the narratives that goes around often, especially in professional sports, we hear it in college sports as well, is that there are games that matter more than others. Like, yeah, you go through the process, and you play every game, and you make sure you're up and you're ready to go. But there are games that matter on that schedule. That Alcorn game might matter. But was this because you said coach was like, hey, like this is the game. But did you feel it before you even said it? Did you feel that this is the game we got to win? Did you really feel the energy around that FAMU game?
Oh, most definitely, especially after taking a previous SWAC team loss, coming with Grambling early in the season. After that game, coach was on us like we're not losing no more games after that. So even just going into that game, like the intensity was there. Like I said, the coach was on us. So it was like if you didn't have that mindset and if you weren't prepared to put it all on the line, especially coming into this game, then you wasn't meant to be around. So everybody else, especially with them being the reigning national HBCU champions the previous season before, it wasn't no excuse. It was ours for the taking, and especially with him bringing in the guys that we have now, we were able to get to be able to pull it off. That just goes to show that it was a lot of work that came into it, especially with the game with them in 2023 being so close. It wasn't that they only lost by 10 points. So being able to come back and win against them was just a testament to show, hey, it's ours for the taking. You just had to be there in the moment to be able to feel it. Like it was crazy.
Most definitely. So listen, if you just joined us, we're talking to Robert McDaniel, Jackson State University defensive back and future NFL star. Listen, I'm a Ravens fan, so the Ravens, we need some more defense. You know what I mean? Because we could have won against the Bills had Mark Andrews caught the pass. You know what I mean?
Crazy. That was crazy.
Like because Lamar, look, we got it down there. So like maybe we draft you or we sign you, and now we don't even got to worry about the game even being close because you intercepting Josh Allen. Okay, right. So we not even worried about that. So listen, we're going to talk about big games. We talked about that playoff game, like the Ravens and the Bills, right? But that's a big game. That's a playoff game. That's the divisional round, right? For us, man, the Celebration Bowl, that's our Super Bowl. Like that's something that we haven't always had. You had the Heritage Bowl back in the day, but that stopped. And then 2015, you have the Celebration Bowl, right? You have Jackson State with Deion Sanders, 2022, amazing, epic game. And, you have North Carolina Central that wins. Then you all make it back and it just celebrates for against South Carolina State, which was the team 2021 that Jackson State lost to. So you got to just talk us through the mindset of that game. You have 2021 Jackson State and South Carolina State face off. South Carolina State wins. Then you get your lick back. You get your lick back. Jackson State, MEAC Challenge, beat South Carolina State in dominant fashion, right? Then now this is the rubber match, 1-1 on both sides. And now we're here in Atlanta once again for the third time. So what was your mindset? What was the team mindset going into that matchup in the Celebration Bowl?
Well, with my mindset, I was just saying this is my last go around, and I'm gonna put it all up. I'm gonna put it all out on the line for. Like I'm gonna, no matter if it was making sure to get extra film study, make sure my body is in perfect working order because I didn't have no injuries going into the game, so it wasn't gonna be no excuse. I want to dominate. I want to show them, hey, I'm gonna end out with a bang. Yeah, it's not about to come easy. Even with the mindset with the rest of the team, even with Coach TC said, honestly, this whole year mindset has just been dominate our opponent, dominate your one-on-one, win your matchup, and that was something we was able to do, especially coming from both sides of the ball. And just going into that game, it was definitely there. They had some of the top MEAC player, HBCU National Player of the Year. They had guys on that side of the ball, but we also had guys. We also had dudes. We put it all on the line. And then going into that game, we were just able to, showcase what we all do together, put it all together one more time, one last dance, and lo and behold, we came out with the win.
I love it. One last dance. Shout out to Michael Jordan. That documentary was dope. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about it like this too. Because once again, if we talk about narrative, right? For us that don't play sports at the highest level, and we watched and we love the game, and as media members, we're breaking down the game, and on the HBCU side, we're promoting the game. There's a lot of narratives that we talk about. So another narrative that we talk about is pressure, right? In those big moments in postseason atmospheres, right? And I'm pretty sure as a sports fan and as someone that plays sports, you've heard it before, right? So is it a pressure in that moment, or is it just like another game? Is it really pressure in that moment in like celebration mode, SWAC championship? Is it really pressure in those moments?
I most definitely say it's definitely pressure there because, hey, we came so far, and for us to just give up and not win, that's something we weren't gonna be satisfied with. Because our coach had told us we're not losing no more games, even after winning the SWAC championship game. We got right back on it, right to the skills, and right back to the grind, and just going into that game, it was just another. Hey, it's another game, but hey, this the last one. Hey, it's time to, and then especially with the coach and the team in general. It's never been done in Jackson State history to win the first HBCU national championship at Jackson State. You're going to be already engraved in history, and it's just something you don't take lightly. It's just it's on your chest, it's on your mind. But we was able to stay focused. Remember, hey, we know what we came to do. We know what we've been trained to do, coached to do. It was just a matter of time to just go out there and put it all together and just come out with the win.
I love that. And you just talked about history, and Jackson State is a powerhouse in HBCU football. Like that's the school Walter Payton went to. You got 3 Hall of Famers that was on the same team. And so it's like you have all this, even before Dion and what he did amazing with Travis Hunter and Shador and the crew. But Jackson State has always, like you've had like down periods, but the history of Jackson State has been one of the best programs in HBCU football. So how does it feel to be a part of that history, not just as a player that played on the team, but you are a difference maker on that defense? And then you help the team win the Celebration Bowl, win the HBCU National Championship. Like, how does it feel to be a part of that legacy?
Man, it just feels, man, it's just a crazy feeling, honestly. It's just looking back at it, it's like, wow, I am like a part of the legacy, a part of the history that we, not only just the players, but the city of Jackson, like we are all, it was just all, everybody was just a part of the history, and being able to bring it back to the city was just the best feeling there, especially coming from Jackson. Like it's just something I couldn't have wrote the story better myself. To start at Jackson State and end my last year at Jackson State, becoming a SWAC champion and an HBCU national champion was just I couldn't have wrote the story better myself. It's just a full circle moment for me.
I love it. I love it. You know, in sports, we're talking about narratives. They say, like the story, they call it the script. Like, oh, the script. The NFL got a script. The NBA got a script. No, it don't. No, it don't. Sports got a script. All right, maybe some other places there was some nefarious activities. But there wasn't no script in the Celebration Bowl. Like, y'all went out there, you had to go win that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the script. The story was written by high power, but it wasn't no script by nobody. You made it happen. All right, because a lot of people like to talk about the script when it comes to sports. But let's talk about just the NFL HBCU Combine and your preparations to hopefully have your name called in the NFL draft in April. So what was your focus during the NFL HBCU Combine? Because that combine is such a great experience, because oftentimes we see that HBCU athletes are overlooked. And historically, you've had so many amazing athletes, including those that are in the NFL now, that have come from HBCUs, but they always tend to prioritize Power 5 players. So to have the NFL HBCU Combine and the Legacy Bowl is a great way to showcase your ability and your talent. So how did you prepare to showcase that talent?
Shout out to my agent. I've been, honestly, even after the season, I got right to training. I was at an X3 performance facility in Nashville, focusing on my recovery, proper prioritizing my nutrition, stretching, mobility, to help keep my body fresh, to help, prepare me for the HBCU Combine. Then going into my mindset going into it is I want to showcase them, what they came to see, what I can do on the field as well. So going into that, it was just me. Hey, it was just me versus me, honestly. And I just want to show to them my explosiveness, my agility, my body size. Why should we draft this guy? And I feel as though I definitely showed them why they should be able to call my name on draft day.
I love that. I love that. So when we look at sports, right, you see growth, right? You know, for me, like I said, I'm an NBA guy. Like you see LeBron's growth from 2003 to him just getting 50,000 points combined,
Yeah, that was
playoffs,
crazy.
you know, in regular season. Yeah, that's the guy. You know what I mean? So you see that growth, right? And I think that sports is so amazing because within a period of time, you see growth not just physically, but mentally when it comes to skills. Like you see that level of growth. So, how do you think that you've grown within your college experience to be prepared to play in the NFL?
Honestly, it's just learn, continue to learn along the journey. You know, like I said, I met people, I met coaches, I met players that, you know, that helped me shape me into who I am today. And I can't do nothing but thank them, thank my support system for being able to, you know, help me through it. And, you know, honestly, me, it was definitely a mental battle at sometimes, but you know, that's part of it. You know, you're gonna continue, you're gonna fail at times, but it's what you do with those fails that, you know, dictate who you are as a person. And I continue to use my own circumstances, my failures to be able to learn, continue to grow from them, and being able to, you know, at this moment now, that definitely helped me being able to be mentally prepared to be able to continue to showcase what I can do, and then especially going on to the next level is definitely a lot of mental warfare. And you know, I'm prepared for it. I'm prepared to show the world what I can do. I'm not gonna let situations dictate how I will how I'm gonna act. And you know, I'm gonna continue just at the end of the day be me, know my values, know my worth, and continue to show, you know, who Robert McDaniel really is.
I love that. I love that. So if you're just now joining us, we're talking to Robert McDaniel, Jackson State star defensive back and future NFL star. We're talking to it, we're claiming it. You know, we're gonna put that in the atmosphere. So we're gonna make sure we make it happen. All right.
Yes, sir.
So when it comes down to it, right? When it comes down to HBCUs and being a part of HBCUs. When we come into HBCUs, we have this assignment to be ambassadors. Like I was an orientation leader at Fort Valley. I used to always tell my freshmen that, man, like, yeah, you're students, but you represent something bigger. Like you're not just a regular college student. And that's not just for one person or the football team or the student leaders. That's for every student on that campus. You represent something bigger, you know? And for you, especially for the NFL and for professional sports as an HBCU athlete, you represent something bigger because you represent hope. Hope that, hey, like I can go to an HBCU, have this experience, and then my talent and skills from an HBCU, I can go to that next level. So you're an ambassador of that. And I'm pretty sure you know that. Like you're an ambassador of that level of change. So how do you approach that? Like, how do you approach being this HBCU athlete that wants to go to the next level, represent HBCUs at the next level? And what message would you want to send to like the naysayers, the folks that like, oh, they don't play ball in the FCS, they don't really be playing. How do you respond to the folks that say that about Division I HBCU football? And don't get me started on how they talk about Division II football. Okay, don't get me started on that. You Division I, we can talk about how to do Division II football, but they play with HBCU football. So like, what is your response to them? But also, how do you feel being that ambassador and that representative of the sport?
Honestly, it's really just continue to just, you know, be yourself. You know, you don't have to change for nobody. And then I continue to just walk myself in a professional way, continue to show, you know, it's honestly just continue to just be yourself. I promote myself in a professional way. I continue to just do the little things right, continue to be me, know what's right, know what's wrong. And then for the naysayers, honestly, hey, if you can ball, you can ball. At the end of the day, football ain't gonna change. It's still the same game since I was playing since I was little. Don't matter what the competition is. I can, you know, my mindset, I can play with anybody.
I love it. I love it. So, how do you describe your game? Because I know for me, like I said, like you really are a versatile defensive back, and you have this ability to make plays in coverage, right? But like also, it's like if you need to tackle, you need to make a hit, like you said before, you can do that. But we talk about player cons because everybody doesn't understand the X's and O's. They don't understand like
Mhm.
the deeper nuances of the defense. So, who would you say is like your player comp?
I would compare myself most definitely to Kyle Hamilton. You know, with the Ravens, you don't find too many DBs. You know, especially for a DB. I'm 6'2", 213. He's around 6'4", 215, 220. You don't find too many defensive backs that's that tall and long. He can cover. He can tackle. He can blitz. he's all over the field. You can put him in different areas on the field. So being able to show my versatility like that is definitely why I continue to showcase why I am versatile, why you can put me at corner, you can put me at safety, you can slide me in the box if you need to. And also I can cover, I can tackle, I can blitz. Like I got everything you would want in a prototype player like that.
Man, listen, you said Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton's a hitter too. Kyle Hamilton rings somebody's bell. Like, it was that game against the Commanders. I was watching that. He said, "Boom!" I was like, I felt that at home. I'm watching Sunday. It's the Lord's Day. I'm like, golly, I started praying. I'm like, man, like how you did that? So I can see that. Like I can definitely see that. And once again, I am a Ravens fan and a Falcons fan. Either one, okay. But the Ravens is my number one team. Okay, so I need you. You can be Kyle Hamilton's teammate. Like y'all can be fierce, and we can bring back that Baltimore defense of old, man. So listen, I love that you said Kyle Hamilton because that lets me know something. That lets me know something, and that should let EDC up there in Baltimore also know something to let him know he's going to get you in the draft, man. So listen, if you're just now joining us, we're talking to Robert McDaniel, Jackson State star defensive back, future NFL star in the building. So listen, man, the draft's right around the corner. We're recording this in March. So how does it feel to be at this moment? Because you work so hard for this. You've developed your skills. You're talking about how you're preparing incessantly and you're working out to make sure you're good to go to that next level. And it's next month. Like draft, undrafted free agency, you can be in the league next month. And then in the fall, you're playing on Sundays, man. So like, how does it feel to be at this moment in your journey?
Honestly, it's really just a surreal moment. Never thought I would, always, even just coming up, I always wanted to play, in the National Football League. Football is my first love. Like, it's something I just was brought into, something I fell in love with and continue to fall in love with every day. And, being at this moment is just honestly, it's an unreal feeling. And being able to, like you said, draft next month, like so close. I'm just continuing to stay humble, staying disciplined, knowing what I can do, and I'm just going to continue to, enjoy the moment, keep my feet where they are, and next month when the time comes, I will hope to have my name called, and whoever gets me, they're most definitely going to get a dog. You're going to hear my name called. You're going to hear my name called on Sundays. You're going to get a dude that's going to make impact wherever he go.
I love it. And one thing I know is that no matter where you go in your career, Jackson State going to be there. You know what I'm saying? So I love that HBCU family is always going to support. And man, listen, I can't wait to write about what you do in your career on Clutch Points, man. Like I'm a rate. Like you gonna give me some views, man. I need you to give me some views now. You know what I'm saying? I need some views. So I definitely need you to do that, man. I'm super excited to see what you do in your career. Listen, Robert McDaniel, Jackson State University, star defensive back. And like I said, we're speaking into existence, future NFL star. So you need to let us know, like, where can we follow you on social media and how can we support you? Because we need everybody to know how to follow you when you get interception in the Super Bowl, like how it happened with Patrick Mahomes. He threw like 2. So you might get one up next time. So like you got to know how to celebrate, how to follow your career, man. So where can we find you on social media?
Oh, you can follow me on Instagram at 601.ROBB. And then you can also follow me on Twitter at DAOfficialROB.
I love it. Listen, thank you so much, Robert McDaniel, for coming on. Jackson State University star, HBCU national champion, and future NFL star. Hopefully for my Ravens. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna speak that into existence.
I wouldn't be, if they get me, I wouldn't mind being up there with Kyle Hamilton and Nate Wiggins. I wouldn't mind it.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? We're going to speak into existence. Just know I'm speaking it. Okay, just know that because I need that. All right, well, listen, thank you so much for coming on. You're listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to HBCUPulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.